Today I will show you my updated PvP build for Blood Knight. I already shared couple of PvP builds for this class, but I made some changes, so this is the build I am using currently. First, I will explain the build in detail, and after that I will add some gameplay. I want to start with the skills I am using. We have Sanguinate as a movement and iframe skill. We can use this skill to engage or get out of the fights. When you use this skill, you become untargetable, so you don't really get hits from many of the enemy skills. Next, we have Swarm of Bats. This skill is jack of all trades. When you use it, you become untargetable just like Sanguinate, plus depending on your build you can steal life or deal dot damage with this skill, and when you use Swarm of Bats, your movement speed gets increased by 50%. Next one is Siphon Blood. This skill steals life from enemies plus deals continual damage to the enemies around you. And lastly we have Skewer. This is our CC and burst damage skill. You have to be careful when you are using it because it can get interrupted by enemy skills. For the primary attack we are going to use Shadow's Edge. If you can manage to play carefully with Sanguinate and Swarm of Bats, you can dodge tons of damage, so you can act like the tank of your team and push or defend the idols. Now let's move on to the set items. Some people use 6 pieces of Banquet with this build to get more kills, but I prefer to be more tanky, so I am using 4 pieces of Mountebank and 2 pieces of Vitus. At least for me this is the best option, but like I said, you can try 6 pieces Banquet or 4 pieces of Grace plus 2 pieces of Vitus. And now it's time to talk about legendary items. For the headpiece we are using Horns of the Hexed. Siphon Blood is no longer channeled and now moves with you, dealing damage and draining the life of nearby enemies. For the chest we have this one, which increases Swarm of Bats damage by 19%. And for the shoulders we have Solemn Snare. Swarm of Bats now shrouds you in a fog of blood mist, increasing your movement speed and making you untargetable, while also dealing damage to nearby enemies. For the pants, I am using Faces of Fate and Mirth. Swarm of Bats now also poison enemies, causing them to take 5k continual damage for 3 seconds. For the main ant, we have this Siphon Blood essence. When Siphon Blood damages the same enemy 3 times, it causes them to hemorrhage, dealing 7.4k additional damage. And for the offhand, we have this Skewer damage buff essence. Skewer also increases your damage done by 19% for 4 seconds. And for the additional main ant, I am using the Besolver. Skewer now causes you to leap into the air and slam into the target location, knocking enemies up and stunning them. And lastly, for the additional offhand, I am using Mercy's Plight. Shadow's Edge now marks enemies, causing them to erupt for 33k additional damage when reaching 4 marks. Other than that, I am using 6 pieces of Tortured for my curse properties, but I am thinking about switching it to Nettled. Both of them work really well, but I think Nettled will be activated more than Tortured. And for the Reforged family bonuses, I have 3 pieces of Vengeance on all of my gear, but I am going to try different things, so I might make a separate video about this in the upcoming days. One more tip before moving on to the Paragon: don't forget to use your stances. Your defensive stance gives you a huge shield, so keep it ready to use all the time. For the Paragon, I am using Executioner and I maxed out damage, life and armor nodes. If you die more than 4 or 5 times, you might consider using Gladiator, by the way. I will show you my full Paragon setup at the end of the video. Now let's move on to the gameplay.